I proposed in front of 40 people. She hugged me and whispered, "We'll talk later." She never came home that night. The next morning, I tracked her location, and it led me straight to her co-worker's apartment. Hey there, we're working hard to hit our first 1,000 subscribers. If you love true, emotional stories, hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. Now let's get into the story. There were 40 people in that restaurant. Her mom, her dad, her cousins, co-workers, childhood best friends, even her old piano teacher. I had planned this thing for over a month. Reserved the entire back patio of the place she'd always loved. String lights, custom cake, live acoustic guitarist, all of it. And I was sweating bullets in a tailored blazer, kneeling on one knee, holding out the ring box I'd hidden in my sock. Everyone gasped when I popped it open. Her eyes went wide. And then, she pulled me up into a hug. Tight. Like, too tight. Almost like she was hiding her face. And she whispered in my ear, "We'll talk later." That was it. No yes. No no. Just that. Then she turned to everyone, smiled like nothing was weird, and kissed my cheek while people clapped and cheered and took pictures. It was awkward as hell, but nobody seemed to notice. After that, she said she wasn't feeling great and wanted to go home early. Said all the attention was overwhelming. I offered to go with her. She insisted I stay. "You planned this for everyone, not just me," she said. So I stayed. I stayed and smiled while cutting the cake. I stayed and played host to her family and friends. I stayed while every person came up to me saying things like, "You're going to make her so happy, and she's lucky to have you." And all I could think was, what the hell does "we'll talk later" mean? That night, I went home to our apartment. Her shoes weren't at the door. Her coat wasn't on the hook. No lights on. I texted her. No response. Called. Straight to voicemail. I figured maybe she went to her sister's place. They were close. Or maybe she just needed a little space. She used to say big emotions made her feel boxed in. So I sat on the couch, in my suit, for hours. At 2:42 a.m., I opened Find My iPhone. Just to check. Not to snoop. Just to ease my anxiety. And there it was. Her location, 11.3 miles away. An apartment complex downtown. I clicked into the map. Zoomed in. Unit 14B. Registered to Evan M., her co-worker. The one she always called like a brother. The same guy she once said, "He just gets me, but not like that. He's just safe." The same guy she texted inside jokes to at 1 a.m. The one she took work trips with even though they were in completely different departments. I sat there staring at the pin on my phone screen, just blinking. At 7:11 a.m., her little dot disappeared, like she turned off her phone. By 8 a.m., she still hadn't come home. By 9 o'clock, I was in my car. I didn't even know what I was going to say. I just knew I couldn't sit in that apartment 1 second longer. I drove to that address, parked half a block away, just watched the building for a while. And then, at 9:36 a.m., she walked out, still in the same dress from the night before. Hair in a messy bun, carrying her heels in one hand and a hoodie that definitely didn't belong to her in the other. She got into her car and drove off. She didn't see me, and I didn't follow her. I just sat there, engine running, windows up, trying to convince myself that maybe I was overreacting. Maybe something happened. Maybe she passed out on the couch, overwhelmed from everything. But then I remembered something. During her party, Evan wasn't there. And when I asked her earlier that week if he was coming, she said he couldn't. Something about his mom being in town. Now I'm wondering if that was a lie too. I didn't go home. Not right away. I went to a coffee shop nearby. Opened Instagram. Guess whose account was public? Guess who posted a story at 1:42 a.m.? Her. Clinking glasses. And Evan's laugh in the background. Caption: "Unexpected nights are always the best." The image? Her bare feet curled on someone's couch. A glass of wine in her hand. A familiar painting behind her. I'd seen it once before. On his desktop background during a Zoom call. That painting was in Evan's living room. So yeah, she hugged me in front of 40 people. Whispered, "We'll talk later." Then spent the night with another man. And now I'm sitting in a coffee shop, with a ring in my pocket that I'm never putting on her finger. But I'm not saying anything. Not yet. If she wants to talk later, fine. Let's talk. She walked in at exactly 11:42 a.m. Hair brushed. Sunglasses on. Wearing an oversized hoodie that definitely wasn't hers. Not unless she suddenly developed a taste for the Chicago Bulls and men's deodorant. I was sitting on the couch. Same spot I'd been in for most of the last 12 hours. Her keys jingled as she dropped them in the bowl like this was just a normal Tuesday morning. I didn't say a word, just looked at her. She didn't say anything either, not at first. Just walked to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water like she hadn't disappeared after a marriage proposal. Then finally, after a deep breath, she turned to me and said, "Please, before you say anything, let me explain." I didn't move. She sat down on the arm of the chair across from me, not too close, like she knew how bad this looked. And it did. She looked like guilt in human form. Nervous, sweaty palms, picking at her nails. She launched into this speech. Said she was completely overwhelmed last night. Said the proposal caught her off guard. That she didn't know how to react in front of everyone. Didn't want to embarrass me. Didn't want to say yes or no on the spot because it was such a big moment. So, naturally, she decided the best thing to do was leave without telling me, go to her coworker's apartment, sleep there. When I asked why Evan's place of all places, her eyes darted. That's when I knew. I didn't need her to say it, but she did anyway. "He's the only person who really understands what I've been going through," she said. "He listens. He doesn't make me feel pressured." And it was late. I just needed to talk to someone. I asked her what they talked about. She said it was mostly about us. About her confusion. That he just listened. That he told her to talk to me and figure things out. She swore nothing happened. But I've heard that one before. So I pulled out my phone, opened Instagram, and handed it to her. Her face drained the second she saw the story. The clinking glasses. Her bare feet on his couch. His laugh in the background. She looked at me, wide-eyed. That was just wine. Just one drink. I fell asleep there. That's it. I didn't respond. Just stared at her until the silence got loud. And she couldn't hold eye contact anymore. Then she started crying. Real tears this time. Said she messed up. That she should have come home. That she got scared. That she didn't know how to be someone's wife. And yeah, maybe part of me still wanted to believe her. The part of me that picked out her ring. The part that imagined our wedding, our first apartment, Sunday pancakes, our future kids. All of it. But I also knew better. I asked her one simple question. "Have you ever slept with him before?" She froze. Didn't say yes. Didn't say no. Just stared. Blinked twice. That told me everything I needed to know. She finally mumbled. "It was a long time ago. Way before us." It didn't mean anything. Right. Because people usually end up half-dressed in the living room of someone they used to sleep with the night after their boyfriend proposes. I told her I needed space. That I wasn't going to do this right now. That she should stay at her sister's for a few days while I thought. She tried to hold my hand. I moved it away. She packed a bag and left without another word. Not even an apology. Once she was gone, I opened my laptop. And that's when the next thing hit me, like a brick to the chest. I had an email. A forwarded one. From her best friend. Subject line, "I thought you knew." Attached were screenshots. Text threads between her and Evan. From months ago. Talking about how she wished she'd met him first. How she felt more alive when they were together. How she felt guilty but couldn't stop thinking about him. And the worst one? Her saying, "I feel like Mark's proposal is coming soon. I don't know what to do. I'm not ready to be someone's forever." That was dated 3 weeks ago. She knew. She knew exactly what she was doing. And she let me plan everything anyway. The restaurant. The guest list. The surprise. The ring. She smiled through it all. Let me kneel. Let me hope. Just so she could run off and drink wine at her backup plan's place. The story's not done. Because once I knew the truth, I started connecting dots. And what I found next, let's just say her little escape to Evan's place. That was only the tip of what she'd been hiding. You ever have that feeling when something snaps in your brain? Not rage. Not sadness. Just this weird, calm clarity, like your body's on autopilot, but your mind's busy putting together a timeline? That's what the next few hours felt like. She was gone. Finally, she took her duffel bag and her excuses and went to her sister's place. Said she respected my need for space. Cute wording for someone who disappeared after a proposal. But I couldn't sit still. Couldn't watch Netflix. Couldn't eat. My brain wouldn't shut up. So I started looking. Not snooping. I wasn't looking to catch her. I just needed to understand what the hell had really been going on behind my back. We shared an iCloud account. It was mostly for convenience. Grocery lists. Shared calendars. Photos. I'd forgotten that her phone auto-backed up all her pictures. Not just to the cloud, to my iPad too. The one I rarely used unless I was traveling. I opened the gallery and scrolled back. Started with the birthday photos. smiles, laughs. The moment I proposed, she looked happy in them, but in that stiff way, like she was smiling through a hostage situation. Then I hit a video, taken 3 days before her birthday. She was in a mirror, wearing a dress she hadn't worn in front of me, spinning, pouting, filming herself. And someone in the background, off-screen, says, "That one's definitely the winner. Trust me, he'll lose his mind." Evan's voice. The next day, a picture of a hotel bar menu. Then another, her foot on a balcony railing, drink in hand. Then one of 2 glasses on a nightstand. Hers and another one. Same night, a selfie. His head barely in the frame. His arm around her waist. That wasn't 3 years ago. That was this week. I wasn't just blindsided. I was mocked. Like I was a joke they were both in on. And apparently, I wasn't the only one who noticed. Because out of nowhere, I get a message from one of her coworkers. A guy I barely knew. Let's call him Tyler. Subject: "You deserve to know." It was a long message. No punctuation. Just a wall of text like he'd been holding it in forever. He said he'd seen them together at company retreats, hotel lobbies, even caught them coming out of a bathroom stall once during a New Year's party. He said everyone just assumed I knew. That maybe we were in some kind of open relationship or arrangement. That the way she talked about Evan made it sound like it was a thing I was aware of. Let that sink in. People thought I knew. That I was cool with it. Like I was some pathetic little placeholder fiancé, sitting in the corner while she ran around with her co-worker soulmate. And the final punch? Her mom knew. Her own mother. Tyler told me they ran into each other once at brunch. Evan was there. They were holding hands. Her mom was laughing with them. Said something like, "You two better be careful. One of these days, someone's going to see." So yeah, the only person who didn't know was me. And you'd think after all that, I'd lose it. Throw her stuff out. Smash the ring. Rage online. But I didn't. Instead, I did something else. I printed out every photo, every screenshot, every text Tyler sent. I made a timeline, put it all in a folder. And then I went to the drawer she kept her journals in. She had these leather-bound things she'd been writing in since college. Pages and pages of her raw thoughts. I always respected her privacy. Never once opened one. Until now. The one on top was half full. The last entry? Dated 4 days before the proposal. She wrote, "He deserves better than me. I know that. But I feel safe here. Safe is dangerous. Safe makes you settle. Evan is chaos, and chaos makes me feel alive." And then, underlined twice. "If I say yes, I'll never know what it could have been like to choose what I really want." She knew. She knew she was going to hurt me. And she let me propose anyway. Let me invite her entire family. Let me humiliate myself. For what? For one last big moment? For the drama? I closed the journal, put it on the folder, stared at the pile for a minute. Then I stood up, took a deep breath. If she wanted to talk, if she wanted to spin her little story, I was going to let her. But she wasn't going to like how that conversation ended. Want to know how I played it? Because trust me, this wasn't just some yelling match. The next time she saw me, I was smiling, calm, gentle. And then I invited her and her parents to dinner. And Evan too. I had a very special presentation ready. 3 days later, I sent out the invites. Her parents, and Evan. I worded it politely. Said I wanted to clear the air. That I didn't want lingering bitterness. Said I thought a calm conversation would help all of us move forward. She replied almost immediately. "Thank you. That means a lot. I've been wanting to talk things through too." Of course she had. She wanted to talk, now that I wasn't blowing up her phone. Now that I wasn't begging for closure or sitting in our apartment like a kicked puppy. Evan never responded. But he showed up. That part still makes me laugh. He actually showed up. Wore a damn blazer like it was a networking event. We met at a quiet Italian place. Dim lighting, soft piano, a spot we used to go to during anniversaries. I'd called ahead and requested the back room. Private. Seated 6. Candlelight in the center. One of those fancy joints that brings the wine list in its own book. She walked in first. Her mom and dad behind her. Her mother gave me this tight little smile, like she was trying to pretend she hadn't been enabling her daughter's double life. Then came Evan. Smug. Confident. Like he thought we were all about to have a mature conversation and that he was about to charm the room. We ordered food. Exchanged small talk. She tried to steer the conversation toward what went wrong between us. Said things like, maybe we rushed into the engagement. Maybe we both ignored red flags. She actually tried to paint this like we both made mistakes. That's when I smiled, reached down and unzipped my bag, and pulled out the folder. I placed it on the table slowly. Let the weight of it settle. Let everyone's eyes drift to it. Her face twitched first. Evan sat up straighter. I didn't say anything. Just opened it, turned it toward them, and slid out the photos. One by one. The hotel selfie. The wine glasses. The birthday dress mirror shot. The video. The messages with timestamps. I watched her face collapse in real time. Evan leaned forward like he was trying to make sense of it. Then I took out the journal. Opened it to the underlined passage. Read it out loud. If I say yes, I'll never know what it could have been like to choose what I really want. Her mom gasped. Literally gasped. Her dad muttered something under his breath and looked away. Evan finally spoke. You went through her personal stuff? I turned to him. Calm. You slept with someone else's fiancé. You want to talk ethics? He had nothing to say after that. She started crying. Finally. Tears and shaking hands and all the right expressions. But none of it hit me. Not anymore. I just looked at her and said, you could have told me you didn't love me. You could have left. But you made me a clown. In front of 40 people. You made me plan a proposal while you were texting him from the bathroom. Then I stood up, reached into my pocket, pulled out the ring, set it on the table next to her wine glass. And I said, in front of her parents, in front of Evan, loud enough for the next table to probably hear. Sell it. You'll need the money. Then I turned to the waiter, handed him my card, and said, they're all on one check. Make sure the dessert's included. And I walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't rush. Just stepped into the night, cool air on my face, and kept walking. No shouting match. No final blow-up. Just facts. Laid out like receipts. She wanted to talk. She got one. But that's not even the best part. Because after the dinner, things got worse for her. Much worse. And the messages she started sending me, let's just say they weren't about clearing the air anymore. After that dinner, I blocked her. Phone, email, socials, everything. Cold cut. No goodbye, no closure, no response to the 3-paragraph messages she started sending me that same night. At first, it was the usual. I understand you're hurt. I never meant to hurt you. Can we please talk when things calm down? You're still my best friend. Then the tone started shifting. 2 days later. You blindsided me. That was so cruel. For days. You didn't have to humiliate me in front of my parents. By the end of the week, you manipulated the whole thing. You've always needed to be in control. Right. Because showing people the truth makes me manipulative. I didn't respond. Not once. But I did hear through the grapevine what happened next. I wasn't trying to, but mutual friends talk. And when drama this big explodes, people love to pass it around. Turns out, Evan wasn't exactly built for the fallout. Her parents stopped talking to her, completely. Her dad called off a family trip she was supposed to host, and gave a very loud, very public, I'm disappointed in you speech at a family dinner she skipped. Then Evan started pulling away. Didn't text her back for hours. Stopped liking her posts. Stopped inviting her out to events. 2 weeks after the dinner, she moved in with him. That lasted less than a month. Apparently, Evan told her one night, during an argument, that he wasn't ready for something serious and never asked her to leave her fiancé. Yeah, let that sink in. She threw everything away for a guy who treated her like a temporary visitor. And when it got real, he backed out like she was some house guest who overstayed her welcome. She tried calling me again after that. I didn't even listen to the voicemail, but the transcript popped up on my phone. All it said was, I miss you. I didn't know how much until now. I didn't miss her. What I missed was who I thought she was. The version of her I built in my head while she was out building something else with someone else. And here's where it gets almost cinematic. 2 months after the dinner, long after I'd deleted every trace of her, I was at a local networking event. Tech startup crowd. Suits, pitches, drinks, overhyped apps. One of the presenters gets on stage to talk about his AI-powered hiring platform. Guess who walks out with the team to help set up the slide deck? Evan. He looks up, sees me. I'm sitting next to one of the major investors, a guy I'd worked with for months behind the scenes. I lean over, quietly, and say, that guy? You should double-check his references. That was all I said. Nothing more. A week later, I heard Evan got dropped from the team. Something about inconsistencies on his resume. I didn't even have to get my hands dirty. I just gave the right nudge. That's how this works. You don't need fire and fury. Sometimes silence and a little truth at the right time is enough to make the whole tower fall. But the story doesn't end there. Because one final message came through last week. From her. Different number. She must have borrowed someone else's phone. It said, "You got what you wanted. Are you happy now?" I didn't answer. But yeah, I kinda am. It's been 6 months. 6 months since the dinner. Since the last voicemail. Since I left the ring on the table and paid for dessert. Life didn't just move on, it expanded. Like my world got bigger the second she walked out of it. At first, everything felt strange. Quiet. The kind of quiet where you're waiting for the next emotional landmine. But it never came. Just peace. I got a new apartment. Tossed or donated anything that reminded me of her. I deleted old photos. Canceled our shared Netflix. Took her birthday off my calendar. You'd be amazed how freeing it feels to remove someone's digital footprint from your life. But here's the part one didn't expect. She didn't stop trying. Not after Evan ghosted her. Not after she got quietly dropped from her job. Yep, found that out from a friend in HR. Apparently office romances weren't as secret as she thought. Not even after I changed my number. She created a burner Instagram to follow me. Liked an old post from years ago. Left a comment that said, "This used to be my favorite version of you." She sent a letter to my office. Yes, a handwritten letter. It was 4 pages long. Blue ink. That weird curly handwriting of hers I used to find charming. She said she was lost. That she didn't understand what she was doing back then. That Evan was a distraction. That I had been her real person. That she regretted not realizing it sooner. She ended the letter with, "If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I'll wait as long as it takes." I didn't write back. Didn't call. Didn't text. Didn't leave a passive-aggressive comment online. I just folded the letter, tucked it in a drawer, and left it there. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do to someone who wrecked you, lied to you, used you, is not give them an audience. She got to live her story, her way, for months. She got to have the chaos, the thrill, the fantasy. And now, she gets to live with the ending. Not a dramatic confrontation. Not a final scream or slap or slam of the door. Just me, not being there. That's what breaks people like her. Not hate. Not revenge. Absence. Now, I wake up in a place that feels like mine. I work on things I care about. I talk to people who don't make me second-guess my worth. I smile without checking the room for approval. She's not part of the story anymore. And that, ironically, is the only closure either of us is ever getting. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.